All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the class. Does anybody have a problem hearing me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, thanks. Just want to check that old mute thing really sucks. um, so, um, so what I want to do today is kind of give you an intro to MSE 201. Hopefully everybody's here for that course. I'm going to give you kind of an introduction on how we're going to kind of organize the class. I'll take you through the Canvas page just so you kind of know where to find everything, and I'll kind of give you a layout of how it's going to operate the rest of the semester. So let me go ahead and just kind of go over a couple brief things just on Zoom, if we're ever on Zoom. Um, Obviously, I'm going to keep it kind of casual. So if you have questions, you can kind of just speak up, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, or don't want to interrupt me, feel free to use the chat, and I'll check that periodically to see if anybody has any questions throughout. So just make sure that if you have questions, I'm here to answer them. So but otherwise, if you're welcome to have your audio on mute or something, just in case the dogs bark in the background like mine might today. So just keep in mind all of those things. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I have just a slideshow just to kind of do some introductory stuff to show you. So we're going to kind of flip back and forth between that. So let me go ahead and start this slideshow. All right, so I thought it'd be useful just to kind of go over, since I know a lot of you either are kind of new to the department or not in MSE, to kind of get to know me a little bit better. So I'm your instructor, Dr. Tom Koschel. If you're wondering a little bit about me, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So if you can see the slides, here kind of at the intersection of Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa, just in this really small town. So that's where I'm from. I went to undergrad in a place called Colorado School of Mines, as in like a cave, not as in mimes like you see over here. So I apologize for bad jokes. That's probably going to be a commonplace thing. And then I got my PhD at the University of Texas at Austin in material science and engineering. So that's why I'm teaching this class. I also have a new fiance, and I have 3 animals there. You can kind of hopefully see in the slides there. The cat is one that might be in some of the lecture videos because she likes to creep around. And then you might hear the other dogs throughout the videos and so forth throughout the semester. So I'll give you more introductions as they ruin my videos. So it's a little bit about me. The course, you're probably here for that. So let's talk a little bit about the course. This is an introduction to material science. So we are going to use the fundamentals of material science and engineering. It's the integrated approach. This should be the one listed in the UK bookstore. I believe I checked, and this is the same one that is set up there. Any version that you want to use is fine. I've got my kind of bound version here. It's more like a paper copy. There are loose leaf. There's a digital version. Any of those are going to be fine. So I'm not picky on the format that you use. If anything pops up about Wiley Plus, you do not need to get this. They have some additional kind of worked examples and things like that. And they also have a way to like do homeworks and things like that. I'm not going to incorporate that into the class. If you want extra worked problems and other things like that, you can get that, but it's not necessary for this class. If you are a MSE student, I know a lot of you are either in mechanical or chemical engineering when I looked through the roster. But if you are an MSE student, you're going to be in our curriculum for a while. I would definitely recommend getting some paper version of our book. But if you're not going to be an MSE student, feel free to get digital or whatever, rent a book, whatever you think. But I think it's a good reference for those that are going to be in the MSE curriculum for longer. All right. So for this course, just like a lot of your other courses, we're going to use Canvas. I put some kind of preliminary information here. So if you're new to the university, this could be useful. Kind of shows you how to set up notifications and so forth. I'm gonna kind of assume that most of you are familiar with Canvas. If that's wrong, let me know. I can help you out with that outside of class, but Canvas you'll be using a lot throughout the university. Let me go ahead and switch over now, and let's look a little bit more at the course on Canvas. All right, so hopefully you can see my browser here. It's opened up to the 201 page on Canvas. So this is going to be similar to what you see when you log in to Canvas. And I just wanted to kind of show you where everything is going to be so that when you're going through the semester, you know where to find things and just, got the basics there. So announcements. I lost my mouse for a second. There it is. There it is. So announcements. This is the first thing you're going to see because it's alphabetical here. So I think most of you got the announcement I sent giving you the link to this Zoom session. So you've already got that. But if you aren't getting emails with the announcements, I highly recommend changing your settings so that you can do that. Because I will send out announcements to the class, kind of expecting that that's going to get to you relatively quickly and give you updates with class information. So that's what I'm going to use for that. If we kind of keep going down the various things here in the menu, assignments, I've already uploaded the homeworks, at least the due dates for those homeworks and the times for the exams and the final. You'll notice I only have one quiz. There will be more quizzes, but I tend to load them on a case-by-case basis. So right now it's just the first one. So we'll kind of revisit these assignments in a second. Discussions. I do not have a discussion board open yet, but some people do like to kind of ask questions and either have me answer it or somebody else in the class. So I'll kind of leave a discussion board on Canvas throughout the semester. So if you have a question, I'll check it periodically, but sometimes other students will be able to help you with that information. So I highly encourage you working together on things. So I'll make one of those for the class. So if you have questions, you can find your grades, various things like that. Files that should be available to you. Any file that I upload to Canvas, I put in here. So you can look through here if it's a more convenient format. I tend to just group things like lectures, assignments, and syllabus, things like that. There is a syllabus tab. So I have uploaded the PDF syllabus for this class. And so I've made it so that it should automatically populate. So you should be able to see that when you open the syllabus page. And Canvas also does some things for their syllabus page, like they put assignments and so forth that are due at the bottom. And they have some other things over here on the right. So all of that's what you're going to see with the syllabus. And we'll go over that here very quickly. Otherwise, there's going to be some quizzes. So you can find those here as well. The other one is going to be modules. So this is going to be the other big one here. So let's go to modules real quick. So I'm going to break up the semester per week. So here you see that there's week 1 and that starts today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all all assignments that are due that week. So quizzes, homeworks, exams, I'll put those here so you have easy access to them. And I also have this overview. So I'm going to have basically this page that describes everything for that week. So if you've gotten a chance to look at this already, good. Otherwise, let me walk you through this. So this basically has everything, instructional, assignments, readings that you should be doing for that week, all in one place. Just a way of kind of collecting everything so you don't have to look around for everything. So you'll kind of notice it says under lectures, week 1 lectures. So today, I break it out by day. So today is basically the live Zoom session you're in right now. You can find the link there. I have the password and then the date and time. So just kind of everything in one place. And just a quick note, anything that has to do with my Zoom. So if it's a live class, if it's office hours, if it's a help session, they're all going to use the same address. So if you're hunting around for an address, use any of them. You'll notice that it's all the same address. It goes to my personal room, and you just need the same password that you see here. So obviously don't post it on the web, because then we'll get all those Zoom bombs and stuff like that. But that's where all the, you can use the same address. So I just got a question about the quizzes. We're going to get to the syllabus here in a second, so hopefully that should answer your question. But also in this, the videos I post will be posted to the module page here. Any readings you have for the week, I'll put those down below, and then assignments I'll try to categorize there here. So the idea is everything is in one place so that you can find it easily. You can find it in other places, but this is kind of the one-stop shop. It's just like one page for everything. Okay, let me go now and let's look at the syllabus in a little bit more detail, hopefully answer some of those questions that you have. All right, can everybody see the syllabus here or have it on their own screen? I can make it a little bit bigger here, maybe. Okay. So, so kind of looking at this PDF here, so obviously this is MSE 201, just called Material Science. I'm your instructor, Tom Koshel. You saw a little bit about me. My email address is here. You can also contact me through Canvas. It'll get the same place. But this is going to be the preferred method of contacting me, since I will not be kind of holding more traditional in-person office hours. So this is going to be the best way to get to me. My kind of policy on emails is I'm going to try to get back to you as quick as possible. So that means about 24 hours on weekdays, and then a little bit longer, so 48 hours on weekends, because I don't check my phone quite as panicked on the weekends. Try to have a little bit of a break on the weekends. If it's something really quick, I tend to be able to get back to you quicker. If you ask me questions that are a little bit more involved, those tend to take a little time. So, that kind of factors into it as well. If it's like a yes or no question, I can get back to you real quick if I see it. Other times it might take a little bit of time, but I'm going to work on trying to get back to you as quick as possible, because it is online and you don't have that contact, or you don't have that drop into my office option as in a normal semester. I will have office hours. They just won't be in person. So, oh, sorry. Somebody have a question? Somebody have a question, or somebody unmuted there? There's some background noise. Okay. Yeah, so if you do happen to have stuff like that, you might just keep it on mute until you want to ask a question. So office hours, I've got them listed here. So these are going to be via Zoom. Same thing, I have the address and password you can get to me. Right now, I have them as Wednesday, 4 to 5, Thursday, 10 to 11. These are kind of based on what people have told me from previous semesters. So if those times don't work for people, if everybody has a class conflict with those times, let me know, and I will make accommodations, or we'll change those office hours. So in the next couple days, check your schedule and make sure that those Wednesday 4 to 5, Thursday 10 to 11 are going to work for you. Otherwise, I'll keep them. So kind of check your schedule for that. And again, it's going to be via Zoom for that. how we're going to deliver the course, and I'll kind of go through this in a little bit more detail in a second as well, but it is fully online. We're going to have both, I put it as both synchronous and asynchronous. A majority of the content is going to be asynchronous, so basically pre-recorded lectures that you can watch at your own pace. However, I do have a number of help sessions throughout the semester, and I'll show you those in the schedule. But those are basically scheduled for our time slot, so the 3 to 3:50 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I have a number of those built into the schedule that we can work through problems, answer your questions on those. And those help sessions are kind of built around the homeworks and the exams. So there's actually quite a few of them in the schedule, and we'll take a look at those in a second. Our TA is listed here. You probably won't have much contact with him. He's going to be grading your assignments, but for the most part, you'll probably not have to deal with Connor there, but I just put that information just in case. Prereqs, I'll assume that you're good with the prereqs since you're in here. I'll let you look over the objectives. We talked about the textbook, so that's the same information here. Reading assignments, those will be posted from this book. Same thing, textbook problems will be on the homeworks, so I'll kind of give you the numbers there. More outcomes related to ABET, you can look at that at your own pace. I just got in the chat about the help sessions. So right now they're in the tentative schedule, but I do plan on putting them more integrated into Canvas so that you have notifications for them. They're in my calendar, so I just have to kind of import them into your Canvas calendar. So yes, I do plan to get reminders for those help sessions. The main one is going to be if you see a exam or a homework coming up, that's when those help sessions will be. Technology-wise, shouldn't need anything fancy. Basically, access to Zoom for these types of sessions. Typical software that's available through UK. Nothing fancy for that. Just basic Microsoft and all that. So nothing fancy for technology. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the structure. So what kind of activities that we're going to do, and then assignments and things like that. Okay, so like I mentioned, we're going to be mostly asynchronous. In the past, so what I've found is that a mix, people are very kind of hit or miss on what they want. Some people want asynchronous, some people want synchronous, some people like a mix, and it's really hard to accommodate everybody. So that's why I'm going to try to do the asynchronous videos so that people are welcome to look at those at their own leisure, but then also kind of give some more synchronous types of help sessions and stuff. So you have that kind of more face-to-face interaction if that's what helps you. So yeah, so we're all kind of doing our best. This isn't ideal, obviously. I would prefer a in-class course here, but this is what we've got. So we're going to work it as best we can. If you have any comments or concerns about the structure, please let me know as soon as possible. I will try to make accommodations if I can do that. But we haven't done this that many times, so if you have any suggestions, I can try to incorporate them into the course. So these videos, lecture videos, I'll post. I actually use YouTube, so the link for all of the MSE 201 playlist is right here. I'll give you links in the module, so you'll see those. So as you kind of saw in that module, I break them up by week and by day. And so I try to make it look like a typical weekly schedule. The one thing I do, though, is I break up the videos into modules. And I do this because instead of recording one 50-minute video, I would prefer it to be by topic, so that if you have to go back, you can find out the topic that you need to cover. Or just watching it, you don't want to watch a 50-minute video from start to finish. So this is breaks it down a little bit more, and I think it makes it easier to get through the content. So it will be a little different than the typical like lecture, because it'll be broken down like that. But I will try to get the same number of kind of minutes nominally for a given week that you would normally get in a week if you were doing it in person. So I do try to make that work out to the best of my ability. Quizzes, like I said, these are, like somebody asked earlier, the quizzes are more or less weekly. I'll show you them in the schedule, but basically they're kind of the companion piece to the lectures. So the idea is you're watching the videos, and I don't want you to just kind of forget everything that you're watching there. So I want you, I have questions that I ask throughout the videos, and so you'll kind of switch back and forth between the videos and the quiz and answer these questions for those. Just kind of keep you engaged in the lecture, like I would try to keep you engaged during an actual in-person class. So those are more or less weekly, but I'll show you the schedule here in a second for those. Homework, instead of doing a typical every week homework, I wanted to kind of lighten the load a little bit this semester since it's online. So we're doing every other week homeworks. So roughly every other week. There's some exams in there, so it isn't perfectly every other week, but more or less every other week you'll have homeworks. And so these will be a little bit more in depth than the quiz questions, which are more, I think of as simple questions, maybe brainstorms. The homeworks are more problem solving and so forth. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Let me just got a question about the quizzes. The quiz, there will be one quiz per week. So basically you won't have quizzes over each video, you'll have quizzes over the entire week. You can kind of do that probably at the end, or you can kind of do it as you go along if you do them all together, whatever works best for you. There will be call outs in the video for you to kind of go do something else. So if you want, you can always just write it on a piece of paper. But if that becomes an issue, we can definitely look at the format for those quizzes. But right now they're all kind of grouped together by week. Okay, so homeworks, and then we got exams. So basically what we have is I've kind of lessened up the homeworks, and instead what we're gonna do with the exams is we're gonna have 3 exams. So there will be 3 exams plus the final. And so this is more exams than I would typically do, one more. But the idea here is that instead of putting all of our kind of eggs in one basket, so to speak, we'll have exams over less of the material spread out more, and it'll give you more of a chance to kind of go over the content that we have. It's just a little easier to do this than it is in person. So this format kind of works out better to have sort of more exams, but covering less material. So the way we're going to do the exams is that I'm not a big fan of all of the kind of exam monitoring software that you might have used in other classes. I kind of like to do it pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to give a copy of the exam on a given day. So basically start of the day. And then you'll have 2 whole days. So that day and then the next one to work on the exam in the kind of more of a take-home fashion. And then you will upload your exam back to Canvas after that within that 2-day period. So I think this just is a little bit easier. It gives you a little bit more flexibility so that you can do it. If you have a busy schedule, you can kind of choose what time you want to set apart to do those exams. So that's how we're going to kind of structure those. So I got another question. Yes, another question about the quizzes. They will be open the whole week. Basically, how I do those is the beginning of the week, I plan to have all of the lecture videos for that week posted, as well as the quiz. So at the beginning of the week, hopefully on the Monday by class time, I will have your videos posted. This week is the exception. I don't have I don't have everything formulated yet. It should be there in an hour or two, but I'll have all the videos, and then I'll create the quiz, and so that'll be open for the whole week. There's no time frame. There's no time limits on the quiz or anything. So calling it a quiz is kind of maybe a little bit misleading, but it'll basically just be questions that you answer along with those videos. So I try not to put too many stipulations on the quiz itself. But yeah, those will be open the whole week. And then along with the exam, we will have a final, as it says here, but you'll make a note that it's not cumulative. So in essence, it's a fourth exam. And our prescribed time is Thursday of finals week. So don't worry too much about the 10:30 there. Again, I'm going to do it very similar to the other exams, where I'll give you a time frame in order to do that final exam. So basically, it'll be a fourth exam instead of a more cumulative final. So basically, you'll have 4 exams throughout the semester, including the final, to kind of break up the material, and they're relatively evenly spaced throughout the semester. All right, makeup policy. Basically, I don't take assignments past the due date unless you have an excused absence. Those excused absences you're probably familiar with. Sickness. Let's hope to not have anybody sick, but that's a possibility. So that's one of them, obviously. Deaths in the family, things like that. Excused university travel, things like that. There won't be as much, but there might be some travel still. So any of those types of things, if you know about it in advance, please let me know as soon as you do, and we'll get that arranged. But otherwise, yeah, I try not to take too many assignments past the due date. This semester, because we have this online and we're kind of making everything work as best we can, I am going to be pretty generous as long as you're communicating with me and you let me know what's happening. So if you want to know if it's excused, or just let me know your situation, and we'll try to make it work as best we can. I don't want to make things harder, because I know it's not been great online the last almost year now. So so just let me know if something arises. If you're having difficulty with the class, I'm here to help. I'll try to do the best I can. I'll try to help whenever I can with that. The grading policy, you'll see that here. Quizzes are going to be 10%, so not a huge component if you kind of factor in how many there are, but it does add up. So if you're not kind of following along with the videos, if you're not doing the quizzes, that adds up and affects your grade. The homeworks, another 10%. So again, individually, not worth a lot, but they add up if you're not following along. And then the exams you see down here, 3 exams worth 60, and then the final worth 20. So if you work that out, they're all worth 20% a piece. So that's how we're going to kind of structure the class. I put a statement here about attendance and participation. Again, because it's fully online and a lot of it's asynchronous, how I view this is your completion of the videos, your doing the quizzes, all of that kind of factors in. I put the videos and I put the quizzes in there to kind of pace yourself, so you're not waiting until the last minute to do so. Also, since I'm dealing with YouTube, it'll tell me how many video hits I have. So I know how many people are in the class. If I don't see that number in terms of views, that's usually a bad sign. So I can kind of keep track of stuff like that. And so I might poke at people if they're not kind of doing their quizzes and things like that. But the thing's set up to try to pace you throughout the semester. All right, so let's take a look at the schedule that I have here for you, and just kind of show you what's on it. So you see it's kind of broken down by day. So January 25th, that's today. We're basically doing an intro. So that's all we're going to do today. It gives you the reading. All of these readings are in our course textbook, so Callister. For today, chapter 1, it's a intro chapter in Callister, so it's not a big deal if you haven't done it yet, obviously. And then any due assignments for that week or period. And so here you see that for this first week, we're going to have a quiz. You see it's listed under the 29th. If you actually look in Canvas, it's going to be at the end of the week. So basically Sunday, 11:59. So I wanted to give you as much time as you needed to do these assignments. And so I try to put most of those off until the absolute latest part of that week. So if you see quiz 1, it's not actually on the 29th. It's going to be that last day. So I believe that's the 31st, and it's at 11:59. So basically you'll have those weekly quizzes. So Q1, Q2, Q3, that's what those are. And you see the homeworks are more or less every other week in the structure here. And because we have 3 exams and a final, you see the first exam here is on the February 19th. So it's not that far off. So they do come up pretty fast in the sequence. And I also tried to put when the help sessions were. So you'll notice the first help session is going to be on Friday the 5th during class time, during our sort of normal class time. So that's an optional help session. It'll be on Zoom, and it's right before homework 1 is due. So if you have questions and you either you've gone to office hours already, or you want some additional help, or you want to kind of work with your classmates as well, you can use that time slot. And we'll go over any problems you have. I'll try to answer them as best I can in those help sessions. But again, they're kind of built around homeworks and exams. So there's another one here on the 17th to go over the exam 1. So I've built those into the schedule, and you can see those. And like the in the chat, I will put reminders up about those help session as best as I can for that. So basically that's all that's here. It also gives you some topics, and you can kind of see the breakdown of where we're going to be throughout the semester, what chapter we're going to be, etc. And so that's basically what the schedule is going to show you throughout. All right, so that's mainly what I wanted to show you in terms of Canvas and the syllabus, and kind of an introduction to how the semester is going to be laid out. Does anybody have any questions regarding that before we move to the next phase? Okay, so let me I want to try to make this as interactive as we can. So I'm going to go back to the slideshow for a second. All right, so what I want to do is kind of give you a feel for what we want to do in material science and what we want to do with this course. And so we're going to think about something kind of basic. So imagine a mug. So just a simple mug like everybody probably has at home right now. So what I want you to do, you can do this by yourself. Just what I want you to do is identify things that a mug has to do to satisfy its intended purpose. So basically, what is the function of a mug? So think about that. And what I want you to do is use the chat, and just if you think of something about what a mug should do, just write it in the chat, and I'm gonna kind of look through those entries and see what everybody says, and then kind of talk about those. And then we're going to bring it into material structures eventually. But I want you to think about what a mug has to do for its purpose. And then once you think of something, write it in the chat. All right. First, there's a few of them, but one of the first ones I saw was hold liquid, right? Contain a volume, heat insulator. Not toxic would be great if you want to put it near your mouth. Not melt, hold liquid, a lot of you are getting that. Maintain heat, be insulating. Yeah, so it looks like you guys kind of have the idea, right? I didn't, this shouldn't be over anybody's head. I just wanted you to kind of formulate what a mug should do. All right, so now let's, I've got a video for you on the next slide here. Oh, I have to switch over to the browser for a second. Zoom takes a bit, so I'll. All right, so. Can everybody see, is everybody seeing the course syllabus right now? Yep, okay, cool. Yeah, use the thumbs up, use whatever you, I just wanna make sure I'm on the right one. Okay, so this is the video I've got for you related to a mug. So this is YouTube. So this is a glass mug, but just imagine it's the ceramic mug that we just talked about. So I'm gonna play you this video, hopefully. So contain volume, right? That was one of the things that that you had to do, right? So what I wanted you to think about, and we use the cat example because this happens to me all the time, is that there's issues with mugs, right? So insulating, all of those things, but it also, if you drop it, it tends to shatter. I don't know if you could actually see the shattering there on the screen, but that can happen as well. So let's go back, and I want to look at the next kind of thing to look at with this mug. So so now you've told me what a mug has to do. So now what I want you to do is think about what material properties are related to those intended functions. So you listed a lot of things in that first session. So now think about what material properties are important for that performance. So take a second, and then again, use the chat, and I'll kind of look through those, but think of material properties that are important for this mug's functioning. Looks like I'm already getting some. Conductivity, thermal conductivity, yep, those are good. Non-reactivity, yep, solid, so state of matter at room temperature. Porosity, right, you don't want the liquid to go through. Any others? So one thing I would kind of draw your attention to is think about the mug breaking, right? So that's obviously something we can't avoid, but sometimes you have to think about the mechanical properties as well. So, all right, so now that we've got some of those answers, I've got another video for you, video number 2. If I can get back to it. All right, so now it was difficult to find cat videos that involved various types of mugs, so you'll have to bear with me here. So in the slide, you saw a metal mug. So imagine this little hairspray can, which is made out of metal. Imagine this is a metal mug now. So I've got a cat. Okay, so that is our metal mug. You have to kind of bear with me on the videos. I couldn't find great selections of metal mugs here. So now what I'm trying to get at with these videos is how the mug or the other items here react to kind of thermal to mechanical stress. So the cat knocking it over. So a glass or a ceramic mug, which is the first thing we thought of, acts one way. A metal mug, which is what you're seeing in the slides, like this slide, right? This is going to act in a different way. And so there's differences that we want to look at. So the thermal properties here. So the metal, if we drop the metal mug, it's probably not going to shatter in 1,000 pieces like the glass or ceramic did. However, if you pour hot liquid into this metal mug, it would not be a good idea to hold that metal mug, right? So there's some material properties here that are kind of telling us what the application can be. So it's all very much related to a product, what its performance or what it's being used for, and connecting that to material properties. Thermal conductivity, the mechanical stress. Somebody mentioned ductility in the window there. So these are all things that are useful to know. Okay, so now we're on to the last part here. So we've talked about the performance or what a mug's used for. We talked about material properties. So thermal conductivity, ductility, porosity, all those things. So what I want you to think of now, and this might be the stretch because this is what we're going to learn in the class, but I want you to think of if you can come up with any material structures that would result in those properties, which give you that performance. So again, you might not have an answer here, but see if you can come up with any material structures. And again, you can put that in the chat and we will discuss if I can kind of look through them and see what you've got. See if you can come up with material structures. All right, so the two-part, I think you're kind of talking about like a one of those double-walled, maybe is maybe what you're talking about. Definitely bonds. That's going to be one of the first things we talk about. This leads us to the structures that we have. So the bonds between these various materials. And what I'm trying to do with these examples that we're going over with the different mugs is talk about the different types of bonds that we see as well. So I knew this one was going to be kind of a stretch. I just wanted to see how much you guys knew coming in. But again, don't worry if you didn't know what the material structures for these. This is the part of the class that we're going to cover. So you've got that part. All right. So I've got one more video for you. So we talked about a ceramic mug. We showed you a metal mug, which was the hairspray container, and then plastic. Let's imagine we have a plastic mug. So I've got one last video for you. If I can find it. All right, so again, couldn't find exactly a plastic mug to give you the great comparison, but here we have a plastic water bottle. So bear with me, just assume it's the same thing here. So same idea. All right, so the goal here was I wanted you to think about the various types of mugs, different materials, and how that kind of affects the properties. So with the plastic, you know, again, if we drop that, if that cat knocks it off, we wouldn't expect it to shatter into a million pieces, right? So the mechanical properties, that ductility that somebody mentioned, which again, we'll talk about more later in the semester, but that is different with these materials. However, if you're dealing with a plastic mug, we can't put, you probably don't want to put boiling hot liquid in it. for the most part, right? So there are limitations in the performance to all of these. There's pluses and minuses in that performance, but it gives you different properties. But that's because it gives you different properties, and we can all bring this back to the structures. Okay. So that's enough of the cat videos. So just a couple other things that I want to kind of go into with this in mind. So in MSE, or Material Science and Engineering, we approach engineering problems in this kind of same way of looking at performance, properties. So we also can talk about the way something's made, so it's processing, so how it's synthesized, the way it's formed, how it's finished. All of these things will affect, can affect the structure. So what's the composition, atomic composition, molecular. We can also look at microstructure, so bigger structures, not the atomic structure. And we also have macrostructure, like grains and things like that we'll cover in a later section. And this all leads to those properties. So, you know, whether a mug shatters or bends or gets bent, those are kind of the mechanical. Electrical, does it conduct electrons? Optical, can we see through it? Is it opaque? Things like that. Magnetic, you know, these are all examples of the properties, and it all kind of leads to this performance. So we try to break everything down into these types of processing, properties, structure, and performance, right? Because if we're trying to make something, then this is what we're after. So a lot of you are not going into MSE. So the idea of this course is to familiarize yourself with materials, so that if you're out on the job and you're looking at a part, you can kind of think like an MSE person and look at the properties, look at the structure, and hopefully that can kind of guide you into selecting materials and so forth. So that's kind of the goal of this class. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to tackle the structure, and then we're going to go after properties and processing. And we won't tackle the performance side of it as much, because we kind of need to get to the fundamentals first. All right, so ignore this part. We're running out of time, so I just want to mention a couple things. So the reason I chose the specific mugs for the videos that I did is because it breaks down into the different classifications of materials that we have. So we have metals, ceramics, and polymers. So the ceramic mug, the metal copper mug, and then that plastic or polymer mug, right? Those are our big classifications of how we break down various materials. You can often find other classifications like composites. That's basically when we put multiple categories together. Or we can talk sometimes about advanced materials. So maybe semiconductors, biomaterials, nanomaterials. You might see a lot of other kind of classifications, but usually we kind of think of metals, ceramics, polymers, and composites. So, you know, the exercise with the mug was to kind of get you thinking about what are the various properties of these classes of materials. So from the metal example, metals tend to have high strength, toughness, which is if you knock something off, is it going to shatter? So impact resistance. They tend to be good conductors, both electrical and thermal. And we'll look at the structures later. But these are metals or alloys, which is basically a mixture or combination of various metals. So steel is iron plus carbon. So we're going to talk about this throughout the semester. And when you're looking at the periodic table, we're basically looking at metals. We're looking at this general area and kind of this area here, this big area with these transition metal as well. So there's quite a few metals, when we're looking at the periodic table. There's also some over here. So there's a lot of metals. Basically anywhere you see red is what you're looking at with metals. A lot of those won't be common to you, but they are classified as metals. All right, ceramics. Again, the mug example here. The kind of a basic thought for ceramics is a combination of a metal and a non-metallic atom. So something like aluminum oxide Al2O3, sometimes called alumina. Aluminum is a metal, oxygen is a non-metal. You put those together to make a ceramic oxide. So these tend to be strong. They have ionic and or covalent bonds, high strength in compression, but in tension, they tend to be very brittle. So that is basically the shattering when the cat knocks it over, right? They also tend to be excellent insulators, but again, there's always exceptions to the rules. So they also tend to have very high melting points, and so they tend to have good thermal resistance and resistance to chemical attack. So these are kind of a lot of times high temperature applications. And again, when we're combining a metal non-metal, so we can combine anything in red with anything over here that's blue. All right, and then just real quickly, the last one, polymers. These are what we term macromolecules, which are basically just long chain molecules. They tend to have very light elements like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and they can be processed very easily and cheaply. And that's why kind of everything around you is probably a polymer, right? You have plastic bags, plastic cups, all of that. And so these are very easily processed, but the strength isn't very good, as good. They have good ductility and they're lightweight. But again, they tend to not be high temperature applications. So you don't want to pour boiling water in those. And again, the elements you're dealing with are very light. So up on the top of the periodic table. All right, so that's where I'll leave it today for this live session. This is being recorded, so I'll put it up in that module so you can see where, if you need to come back and look at it. And then the videos for this week, the remainder for Wednesday and Friday, those will be posted soon. So I'll send it out an email when those get live along with the quiz, and I'll let you know when those are up. But if there aren't any questions, then that's it for today. And I look forward to a good semester with all of you.